Am I audible? Okay, yeah, I'm seeing the emojis now. Good. Okay. We are quite a bit fewer today than we were on Tuesday, but we'll just go ahead. We're not going to wait. We'll just move on. So I'll start by asking, who can give us a recap of what we did on Tuesday? If you'd like to do that, just unmute yourself and go ahead. Oh, okay, I guess I should first start by asking, which of us, who amongst, okay, Kenneth, you want to give the recap?
Yeah.
Yeah, just go ahead
Good
first.
evening. Yeah.
Good
Good evening,
evening.
everyone. Okay, so at the last meeting that we had, like we discussed about what, I think like that one, like we mostly did an introduction. Everyone gave his intro, but what I personally took from the lesson was like the things that we could build using AI agents and the kind of industries that we could build into, like, such as the healthcare, the finance, and the customer services. And I also had a broader view about what agentic AI is, which is integrating like reasoning and and like giving us like the privilege to create stuff that like do not require like human
Kenneth, I can't hear you anymore.
please, I'm done with my submission.
Okay.
Oh,
It
very bad.
was it.
Seems like please, I want to make a remarks.
Okay.
You said that you can't hear me.
Yeah, I couldn't
And like
hear
this
you.
is
It was jittery at a point, and then I couldn't hear you again. So I wasn't
oh,
sure whether you were done.
maybe probably it will be my network or something.
But can you hear me clearly?
Oh, I spoke. I could hear you, but seems like yours also like keep lagging like a
So
little bit.
it may be my network then. So
But like
let
I
me
could like
just.
retouch on like a couple of stuff though.
It's
If like
okay.
you can
Just a
hear me
moment.
now.
Let me just switch to another network. I guess the problem might be from my end then.
Let me. I
But
don't know if I could just.
others, are you hearing me clearly, or is there some jitter? Is there some lag?
No, I can hear
Your
you
network.
clearly. I don't think it's from your end.
Okay, that means it's from Kenneth's side then. All right. But did you hear him? Just give a thumbs up if you could hear what he said clearly. Okay, that means others couldn't hear him either. Okay. But does anyone else want to try and give us a recap of the last session? No one. Okay. So
Can I
okay,
try, sir?
yeah.
I'm sorry, I
Okay,
can't
go
find
ahead.
I can't find the hand raising. Yes, sir. After our introduction that day, you gave us an introduction into the architecture of how the agentic AI is arranged, and you gave us some 5 different layers. You told us about the intent layer, the reasoning, the tool, the feedback memory, and the environment layer. And what I still remember vividly is that the environment layer you told us is actually like the application or the user interface, I should say, which enables the agent to interact with the environment and the context of the operation. And I remember you told us about ChatGPT interface, especially that when we give an interaction to the LLM, like what is temperature in social place today, that interface is the call it environment interaction layer. And you made us understand that an AI, agentic AI, has many things that it can use like tools and is task oriented. And that's the bit I can remember, sir.
Okay, that's a good one. Does anyone else have something to add? Okay, so I guess we'll move from there. I'll go to the architecture. I just want to mention here that the architecture I gave here is just a generalized architecture for agentic AI. You could have AI agents that don't have all these layers. So it's not compulsory that an AI agent must have all these layers. For example, an AI agent may not have a two layer if it does not need to interact with an external system. I would also like to point out that some persons might name these differently. You could find some persons who would list the components of agentic AI architecture as, say, the LLM core, that's the reasoning core, which maps to the reasoning and planning layer. The prompt. The prompt is actually where it would map between the goal and intent layer and the environment interaction layer. The prompt is the instruction you provide to the LLM, or to the agent in this case. They could mention memory and tools, but whatever the case, you'll find that it still maps to these 5 layers that we talked about. The core thing to know is that AI is simply about trying to mimic human intelligence in machines. And agentic AI is simply about trying to use AI to achieve goals somewhat flexibly, in that you give it an instruction, it understands your intent, the intent in that instruction. It tries to work out a plan for carrying out that intent, for achieving that intent, and then it executes that plan, which might involve making use of tools. And then it could observe the results of those actions that it took, and based on its analysis of the observed results, it could modify, it could revise, it could update the action plan, and then it goes through a loop of take action, observe the results, modify the action plan if necessary, execute the modified action plan, analyze the results, and so on, until it can infer that the actions it took has achieved the intent, and then it provides the necessary output based on what it's designed to do. Today, we are just going to look at setting up our system so that we can carry out the practicum, the hands-on work in this course. But before we go into that, I would like to mention that your stage 0 task has been uploaded on the LMS. And I think I would like to ask here, how many of us have registered, have completed our registration on the LMS? Please indicate by raising your hand if you have registered on LMS. Going to see who has raised their hands. Okay. Abdul Rahman, you haven't yet registered on LMS. David, you haven't registered yet. Elvis. Okay. Abdul Rahman has. It's important that you register on LMS because your tasks will be, you get your tasks from LMS, you submit those tasks on LMS, and it's based on those tasks that you'll be promoted from one stage to another of the training program. And also at the end of the training, it's on the LMS that you would get your certificate. Okay, Elvis says yes. Okay. Another thing to ask, another question to ask here is there any of us here that was not present at the session on Tuesday? Okay, in the chat, there's the information that there will be an LMS onboarding session tomorrow by 12 noon West African time. So if you're having any challenges with registering on LMS, you should join that session so that you can be walked through. You need to register on LMS, you need to register on Discord, and you should also be following KodeCamp's YouTube channel so that you get all the requisite information and you'll be able to also watch the class videos. Okay, Elvis says he wasn't there on Tuesday, but he has watched the video. That's the right thing. So if you miss a class, watch the video, and if you have any questions, you ask the Discord channel, or you can ask either in the channel or you ask one of your cohort members to help you. All right. So we move ahead. We are going to be working in Python. Yes, it's possible to do to create AI agents using other programming languages or to work with them using other programming language, but the primary language for ML and AI is Python. That's the most common language for machine learning and artificial intelligence. So we'll be working in Python. If you currently don't have Python knowledge, I think there's a link I posted in the Discord channel that provides a basic tutorial on Python. I think you should go through that. That should get you up to speed because you need Python to be able to do the practical. And so I'll ask a question here. How many of us currently have Python installed in our system? If you have Python, still indicates by raising your hand. Okay. And then what it does, Abraham does. Okay, Lawrence, Faith, David, Kenneth. Diabonia has. Okay. So if you do not have Python in your system, would you comment with your OS? Yeah, Anaconda is fine if that's the environment you want to run Python on. It's okay. It's okay. It's just an environment. If you do not have Python in your system, would you comment with your operating system? Does Mac OS not come with Python pre-installed? I don't know. Just a moment. I'm trying to. Okay, while we are doing that, yeah, it should come with Python. That's why I'm surprised that Walau is formatting his OS. Okay, it seems that newer versions of Mac OS, like Sonoma that he says he has, um, do not come with Python. Okay. Well, installing Python is not difficult. But before we get to that, I would like to ask, for those who have Python, can you comment on the version of Python that you have? Just comment with the version of Python that you have. Okay, Joyce doesn't have Python either. Fine. Okay, Python 13, Python 11, Python 10, Python 12. Okay, fine. I would actually like us to work with Python 3.14. Python 3.14. Because that's the latest release of Python, so that we are all on one common version for this training. You can have multiple installations of Python in the same system, so you use whichever one you use normally. But for this, I think I would like us to use one version. That's 3.14. So I'm going to send the link where we can get Python so that we can all download 3.14. Okay. So can we all go there and get Python 3.14? Does anyone have a challenge on how to install, how to run the installation on their own machine? Or we should have already started downloading by now. Does anyone have a challenge on installing on their own machine? Okay, that means you have to do it all later because who is scribbling on
With daddy.
does anyone else needs to do the installation later? Ediabonya has said that he's joining with his phone, so he can't install at the moment. Does any other person have that same challenge? Are we downloading? Are we installing?
We need to install LangChain, maybe. Bí family bí wọ́n bá wá sójú kan. Bù sójú kan.
Mustafa, please mute yourself, please. Thank you. Is when your installation is complete, indicate done. Just type done in the chat. That should show us that you have installed Python. David, do you have Python?
Yes, I do. I have Python.
Okay. Before installing LangChain, I would suggest that you create a virtual environment so that you isolate what you use for this, so it doesn't affect your global Python environment.
Okay. Okay.
And what version of Python do you have, David?
Give me a moment. Let me check the version. That is version 3.13.
Yeah, so I think you should install version 3.14 so that we work with version 3.14.
Okay.
Let's reduce the likelihood of it worked on my machine.
All right.
Okay, Fatima, that's fine. But in subsequent classes, it would be nice to have your computer with you so that if we're doing exercises, you'll be able to do yours right there. Python 3.14 has a version for Android. I've not really explored it, so maybe somebody could try exploring how that works, so that maybe for those who would be joining on their phones, you see how far you can try, but just that the typing will be a bit difficult on your phone. But I know that 3.14 supports Android. It has a version for Android. For those who use Android phones anyway. Okay, while we're waiting for the Python installations to complete, the idea is this: you have your Python installation, you create a virtual environment, you set up a virtual environment. That way it isolates the things you're using for the training. That way it doesn't affect the other environments that you have, your other installations. It doesn't affect them. It isolates it. And we'll be working primarily with LangChain. LangChain and is bundled with LangGraph, and that will be the framework that we'll be using for building the agents. And we'll be also using Ollama. Ollama allows us to run language models locally, even on computers that have just CPUs, even without GPUs. But of course, without a GPU, you may not be able to run very powerful models. Even with the GPU on your computer, there are still models you won't run because there are still a limit to the GPUs that you have on your typical laptop. And we'll have to install Ollama, and then we'll install LangChain Ollama, which is the Ollama integration with LangChain that allows us to use Ollama models in LangChain. And because there may be times that we would need to use more powerful models than we would typically be able to run locally, we are going to get Grok API keys. Grok provides, it's a cloud-based provider of LLMs, and it has a free tier. Of course, there are some limits to the free tier, but it allows us to also use more powerful models when necessary. And when we get the API key, we'll also install the LangChain Grok, which is the integration of Grok with LangChain, allowing us to use the Grok models in LangChain. And optionally, we can install PyCharm. That's the IDE. Well, PyCharm is basically built for Python, and so that's the IDE I use for Python. But if you want, you can still use VS Code if that's your preferred IDE, or any other one you want. But I typically prefer using PyCharm for working in Python. That's just essentially what we have for today. We may not be able to finish all of that in this class, but we go up to where we can, and then you can complete the rest on your own. But I just want, once we've installed Python and we've set up virtual environment, the others are essentially a matter of running pip commands. Okay, what's your challenge, Larry Waju?
Thank you, sir. Having installed the Python successfully, I try to, because I have an account on my system, and I wanted to confirm. I went to command prompts and I typed Python space dash version, and it couldn't be found. That's why I quickly went ahead to install it. Then after complete installation, I run the same command on CMD. It still say it couldn't find it, but I fully installed it and I launched it
Okay.
directly. It came up with 64 bits, and I don't know.
Yeah,
I
here's
suppose
what you try to check for the version of Python, and what
yes,
did
sir.
it say?
On CMD, it says panel could not be found, but it's
Okay,
fully installed, and I even launched it. It's showing me Python 3.1 64 bits.
okay. Can you try pi -0?
Okay, from CMD, sir.
Yes,
Pi
pi
-0.
-0.
Pi -0. 0 as in figure, sir, not zero.
Yes, 0,
Okay,
not O.
yes. I did that. It says V 3.1 for Python 3.1 for 64 bits. Yes.
Okay. So what happened when you were installing Python? Did you select that it should be added in the path?
Yes, I chose it.
Okay. What is happening? I think your path variable 3.14 is not the version with the highest precedence.
Okay.
So you need to edit your path variable to make it so that right now you can run Python 3.14 with pi, with the pi command. Okay, here's what I think I'll say. From that CMD, type
Yes, sir.
pi
Yes, sir.
and enter. Just pi, enter.
Python 3.14. It gives me a prompt
Just
with a pink prompt.
yeah. So you can use pi now to run Python, but I think if you want to use the Python command to run it, you have to edit your path variable. But I think you should leave it the way it is. So you use pi, because I don't know exactly what your setup on your system is. For me, my system is set up that both pi and Python run Python 3.14. All right. So it's based on your own setup, so that
I don't have
you
any
don't.
setup here, sir. This system has not done anything programming.
I thought you
So,
said you had an Anaconda. Well, you can. Okay, here's what I would ask you to do. You
okay,
can
sir.
just do later. Just
Okay, sir.
do a Google search how to make Python 3.14 the default Python.
Okay, so should I reinstall Anaconda afresh anyway? Because I know that will come back.
No, you don't need to. You don't need to use Anaconda.
Okay, sir.
So just follow the prompts of the Google search. If you have any challenges, just ping me on, or you can post it in the channel, the
Okay,
Discord
sir.
channel, so that as I respond to you, others will learn from it.
If I have to
Just
make Python 3.14.
the default Python.
All right, sir.
Yeah,
Okay, sir.
just it's not a difficult thing to do. It's just editing the path variable.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So Joyce, the app developer to obtain initial. Joyce, what's your OS? Okay. Mustafa, you created the virtual environment. Do you have only one installation of Python, one version of Python, or
Sir?
do you have only Python 3.14 in your system, or you have multiple versions of Python?
I have 3.13, but I'm trying to download the 0.14. Yeah.
Okay, so you will need to install 3.14 first before creating the virtual environment, because the one you created just now is using probably 3.13, since you haven't installed 3.14 yet.
Yes, sir.
So if you have multiple versions of Python, you need to specify when you're creating the virtual environment.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay. Joyce, were you able to at least download the installer?
Yes, sir. Yes, I've been able to download.
Okay, but when you try to install, it says
Yes. I've been able to download, but I can't install. The install button isn't highlighting.
hey, I'm
And
trying
this
to
this message I dropped is what I received.
I'm trying to figure out what could cause that. Okay, maybe we'll have to take this outside this class because I don't want to ask you to share your screen to everybody. So
Okay, sir. Thank you.
okay, okay. Here's I think okay. Don't worry, we'll take that out. I want to see if Imolai, are you still here?
Thank you.
Yes, I'm
Imolai, are you
still
here?
here.
Is it possible for us
Yes.
to have like an office hour session where people can be helped with installation? Because myself, I don't know if I will be able to have that time to handle that.
All right. We'll look into that tomorrow.
Okay.
So
Okay. All right. Thank you
try
very much.
the LMS onboarding.
Okay. So if that will work out, she's going to put a message about that in Discord, I believe. So please watch out for that and join that session so that you can be helped through such challenges. Thank you, Malayo. So do I take it that only one person has successfully installed Python 3.14 so far? Has anyone else apart from Olani Waju succeeded in installing it? Okay, Lawrence has. Who else? Abdurrahman has. That's good. Edia Bonya has. That is good. Walao has. Good. Okay, so we'll just give maybe 5 to 10 more minutes and then we'll move to the next step, which is setting up the virtual environment. Okay, when you install Python 3.14, please run the Python -- version command to see if it will show you Python 3.14 as the version. If it doesn't, run the pi-0 command. Either way, let us know what the results of those commands are in the chat.
Sir, can I speak, sir?
Yeah, please go.
Yes, I just went back to command prompt and I did Python dash dash version. I returned Python 3.140. I've not done any other thing since then. Would there be necessity for me to?
Well, if you have seen already that you have Python 3.14, that's fine. I'm just trying to wait for a few others to, or if
Yes,
possible, as
I know,
many
sir.
as.
I have a challenge where you suggested that I should Google how to make a Python 3.1.4 default since it wasn't coming up here. You asked me to go to use Py-0 before it came up. But now it's coming up on command prompt directly with Python dash version. Does that change anything yet, sir?
So it's coming up when you check Python, that's that version, right?
Yes, sir.
Then you're fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Had you closed? Okay, it's fine.
Previous one is open. I didn't close it.
Yeah, the important thing is that it's your default. So that's the most important thing. So you don't need to go that route of that search again.
I launched it now. It's showing me idle shell 3.140.
Yeah, that's it. The shell for Python. That's fine. Once you install, idle will go to 3.1 because you're opening the idle shell for 3.14. But if you check from CMD,
Yes, sir.
if you check from CMD, if it's not the default, it won't show. And you need it from CMD because, like, when you want to create the virtual environment, it will be from CMD.
Okay, sir.
But
So
since,
CMD is now 3.140.
yeah, then
And
so
it takes me
that's
to idle.
resolved.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
Just for asking, sir,
Yeah, please.
do you advise that I just uninstall this Anaconda my system so it doesn't create a problem for me? I don't have anything running on it that I can remember, so that doesn't create problem for me, sir.
If you've no need to use Anaconda, I think you should install it. There's no problem, just that it's occupying space unnecessarily.
And I couldn't find Python on it. I don't know what is in there.
Well, for you to be installing Conda, you would have Python there. So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, sir.
Okay. Okay, so for those who have been able to install 3.14, when you do the check from your terminal, the Python version command, does it show as 3.14? Is there anybody that it doesn't show as 3.14? You can just indicate by raising your hand if it does not show as 3.14 when you run the Python version command from your terminal. Okay, so I assume that we all have 3.14 as our default. Now, next one is virtual environment. Who here knows how to create a virtual environment apart from the person who has already created it? It just needs to recreate with 3.14 when it's done. Trust you know how to do that. Okay, good. Or you want to say something else? Okay. Trust you are muted. That's why I'm asking whether you want to say something else. Can you hear me now? Sorry, I lost
Yes, sir.
power. I lost power, so one of my my main connection doesn't have backup power, so that connection I lost, I've switched on to a backup. That's why I went off for a bit. Yeah, Olarewaju, will talk about how to create virtual environment, but I wanted to know who already knows how to create virtual environments. That's why I asked that those who know how to should raise their hands, but I think only 3 people or so did. Okay, that's fine. So what we create virtual environments using the command venv. But first, we should create a folder on our computer, a folder where we would like that virtual environment to reside. And that's inside that folder that will be working, be doing our work for this training. So just create a folder anywhere you would like it to be on your computer.
VNV, sir. VENV.
VENV.
All right, sir. Please on the desktop.
Yeah, if you want to. I would advise that you don't have spaces in that name. Maybe
Yes, sir.
if it's
Capital
more
V.
what's I'm talking of the name of the folder.
Yes, sir.
I didn't say you should name the folder VENV. Just name it
Okay.
whatever you want to. VENV is the command for creating the virtual environment. But I'm saying before we create it, let's have a folder where we want the virtual environment to
Okay, sir.
if I may use that term.
Okay, sir. Run that on the desktop. Agentic AI, no space.
Yeah, that's fine. So if you've created your folder, please indicate still that raising of hands. Okay, Bolao Lawrence, Olarewaju. if at any point you have a challenge with doing what I'm asking you to do, please let me know so that if it's something quick, I can give you pointers. If it's not, then probably get that resolved in the office hour session that I've asked if we could have. I'm assuming that we've all created the folder where we want to work to reside. Only 3 people are actually engaging today. Kenneth, okay?
Sir, please. This, I think I have a question to ask,
Go ahead, please.
if I may.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so Python 3.1.4 was released somewhere July 20 11, if I'm right. So how will
Go
we
ahead.
be able to adjust it with this current
I can't really hear you. It's breaking. It's breaking. Could you type your question in the chat? Kenneth, could you type your question in the chat because it's breaking?
My bandwidth.
Kenneth, I'm waiting for your question to come up in the chat so I can address it before we move ahead. Okay, I guess okay, so when we get his question in the chat, I'll address it. But for now, if you've created the folder where you want your work to reside, then you should navigate to that folder. You use the CD command, CD space, and then the path to that folder. That should take you, excuse me, that should take you to that directory that you created.
Please, I come again with the CD. What's that?
CD, you give one space, then you put the path to the folder that you created. My apologies to those that what we are doing today is like going back to primary 2, but we're trying to all move together because if we don't do this, then we will not be able to move ahead with the meat of the training. We need to be set up for us to move ahead. So we're trying to accommodate as many people as possible. But if you also see that some of the things we are doing today are a bit strange to you, then you need to do a little bit of extra work to brush up. At least by the end of next week, you should be familiar with and comfortable with some of these things so that we can move as fast
Sir.
as possible. Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, I
Go ahead,
copied the
please.
path. I did CD space backslash. The path was given and it told me CMD does not support UNC paths as current directories.
Is it just me? I can't hear anything. Oh.
I
Anybody
can't hear
speaking?
anything.
Sorry, I was muted. I was muted. Sorry about that. I said go to that folder. I
Yes, sir.
think yours is on the desktop. Right click on the
Directly.
folder.
Yes, sir.
If you right click, you see copy as path. Click on copy as path. And then you go back to CMD, CD, then you paste that path. Paste with Control V.
I didn't see copy of file. I only saw copy there. What I did was I went to property. I didn't
Okay.
see copy as path. I went to property and I saw general. I saw sharing.
Okay.
And it was
Okay.
network path I picked.
No, it's not network path. You have to pick the actual path.
Path
Just
with
a
the
moment.
folder. Okay, sir.
If you go to properties, in general, you will see location,
Yes, sir.
right?
See users Olanrewaju space desktop.
You shouldn't be telling us all that too.
No, it gave me C.
I say you should not be telling us all
Okay,
that.
all right, sir. Okay, sir. I'm sorry, sir.
You shouldn't be telling us all that because you're
And
giving out
yes, sir.
information that should only be known by you. So that
All right.
path that is showing you is the
Yes, sir.
path before the actual folder, right?
Yes, sir.
So what you now do is put a backslash after it and type the name of the folder. That's the full path.
Okay, sir. So I'll do CD space that.
You paste
Then
what you copied and then
yes,
backslash the name of the folder.
All right, sir. Then take care. It's there, sir. It's taking me there.
Okay.
Thanks so much, sir.
So is there anyone who is following up so far that has not yet navigated to the directory where the directory they created? Anyone? Okay, I think that we are all there. So the next thing you do is to create the virtual environment. You use the venv command. So what you type is Python space m space venv space and then the name of your virtual environment. I'll put this in the chat. Just a moment. So you run that command where I have your preferred name for the venv, put the name you prefer for the venv. Some people will just use venv. Some people could use something like Agentic AI Venv. Is up to you. A more descriptive one is better, but the longer it is, know that the more difficult it is to type to, and it can start getting unwieldy. So when you run that command, when it's done running, for those on Windows, do a dir, you see that there's a folder with the name that you gave. For those on Unix-based systems, ls should give you that. Or you can also go and open that folder and see that some new things have been added into it. If when you've created your own virtual environment and you've verified that that new folder has been added, when you verify that new folder has been added, please indicate and let us know. You can just type the name of your virtual environment as an indication that it has been created. Just type that in the chat. Yes, the folder we have include lib and scripts for so long Windows. Now, the virtual environment allows us to run a separate environment from our global system. So you can do installations, install packages and all that, and it will be separate from what you have globally on your computer. That way it doesn't interfere with other environments you have. Okay, 3 persons, 4 persons. Okay. Fine. Now, what we should do is to activate the new environment, the environment we created. Sorry, David says he lost. Okay. Okay. David, after you've installed Python 3.14, have you verified, is it your default Python installation? Does the Python version command show 3.14? Okay, so the next thing is to create a virtual environment. So we're saying create a folder, a directory, anywhere you want in your system. Give it any name you want. That's the folder where your work you'll be using for your practical work in this course. Name it anything you like, but I was advising that you should not add space in the name. So you can use underscores or dash or whatever to separate. If it's a multi-word name, you can use an underscore, a dash to separate the different words. You can still have it with spaces, but it's better not to. Okay. If you've created that folder, navigate to that folder in your terminal. So the command will typically be cd, then the path to the folder. When you've not, okay, now create a virtual environment. So Python -m venv, then whatever name you want for your virtual environment. And I was saying that if you have created the virtual environment, then if you list the directory ls for Unix environments and dir for cmd, you should see that there's a new folder, a new subdirectory with the name that you chose for your virtual environment. And I was saying that if you have done that, just comment with the name of that new folder so that we know that you are up to where we are. Okay, so the next thing is to activate the virtual environment. To activate the virtual environment, what you do is, I think you type the command, the name of the virtual environment /scripts/activate. This is for those on Windows CMD. But on Windows, you are using \. For those on Unix environments, Mac, OS, and Linux, the command you run is source space, the name of the virtual environment /bin/activate. I'm going to type this in the chat.
In fact, he didn't even allow me to enter. He just went straight.
That's the command for Windows users. For Mac and Linux users, I'm typing yours now. Where you see name of virtual env, you put the name that you give your virtual environment. Okay, David, did you use that exact name, your preferred name for the venv, or you gave it a different name of your own choosing? You don't have to tell us what name you gave it, but I hope you gave it a different name, not your preferred name for the venv. That will work, but you go type tire when you want to activate your virtual environment. So when you activate your virtual environment, you notice that the prompt changes. Notice that the prompt changes. At the beginning of the prompt, you see the name of your virtual environment in brackets. Your system prompt. Okay, that's fine, David. That's good. Okay, Olari, what you also try not to be posting the full path to your computer in public. It's a security issue.
Thanks for the head up, sir. I thought it's no network.
Okay, so let's activate our virtual environments. If you activate yours, just type activated. Okay, 3 persons have activated theirs. Does anyone have any challenge at this point? Okay, I take it that no one is having a challenge. Okay, okay. You can deactivate the virtual environment just by typing deactivate. If you deactivate, if you run that deactivate command, you notice that your prompt goes back to the standard one before you activate it. So the command to activate it, I have posted it here earlier. To deactivate, just type deactivate. Now, note that when you want to install anything in the virtual environment, you should first activate it. If you don't, then you're installing globally. So you activate the virtual environment you install there, and when you want to run your scripts or whatever we write in the course of this session training, it should be in the active virtual environment. Okay. David says he has a challenge. After you create the virtual environment, you verify that it's actually been created. So you run the venv command, verify that the virtual environment has actually been created. You can open the folder where you created it, and you see that you have a subfolder with the name of the virtual environment. You can also run the ls command if you're on a Unix system, Mac OS or Linux, or you run the dir command if you're on Windows, and you will see that you'll see one of the things you see is the name, a folder with the name of the name that you gave your virtual environment. That folder will also have other folders in it. And once you verified that, you run the command to activate the virtual environment. I posted 2 commands, one for Windows and one for macOS and Linux. And as I said that when you activate the virtual environment, the prompt on your terminal changes. You see the name of virtual environment at the beginning of the prompt in brackets. And then I also said you can deactivate the virtual environment by just run the command deactivate. Okay. So just try activating and deactivating a couple of times so you can do that even when you've just been woken from sleep. So when we've done that a couple of times, the next thing is to install LangChain, which is the framework we will be using. We'll be using in building our agents in this course. Do we move ahead?
I have a question, sir.
Okay, please go ahead.
Yeah, after activating the environment, are we going to CD into that activated environment?
No, you don't. You don't need to unless you have a specific reason to.
Okay.
If you have a specific reason to.
Oh, all right, all right.
Okay. David, what's your OS?
It's Windows, sir.
If you actually created the virtual environment, then this should work. Did you CD into the folder where you created the virtual environment?
Oh, okay. I think I missed that. Okay, I think I see where the error is.
Where did you create the virtual environment, please? Were you in that folder before creating the virtual environment?
Yes, I was in that folder.
So you need to be in that folder to run this, because this is relative to that folder.
Okay.
This command assumes that you are in that folder where you created the virtual environment. If you are elsewhere in your computer, then the command would be different. Okay, I would like us to, before installing LangChain, we're going to use pip. I'd like us to verify that we have pip in our system. Pip usually comes with Python, but let's verify. Let's check the version of pip. Pip space dash version, or pip space dash capital V. Pip is PIP.
Sir, can you please
Yeah.
repeat yourself? The command P what?
PIP space dash capital V, or dash version.
Okay, so sir,
Yeah.
with PIP space capital V, it's telling me unknown
Yeah.
command V.
PIP space dash V.
Oh, dash V. Okay, so
I would suggest that you upgrade your pip to the latest version. If you don't have just a moment. If you don't have version 25.3, it's good to update. can use Python -m pip install upgrade pip for that. Well, it's not really compulsory, but it's good to always have. My point is that you can still install LangChain without doing this, but it's good to always have the latest version because of possible vulnerabilities. So you have all the latest patches. Yeah, that's the command. That's the command to upgrade people to the latest version. Well, essentially what this really does is upgrades if you don't have the latest PIP. So if you have the latest PIP, it doesn't do anything. Well, that shouldn't take much time, so I think we'll just move on. The next thing is to install LangChain. To install LangChain, you run pip install LangChain. Let me still type that. LangChain actually has, when you're done installing a LangChain, please indicate. You can just type LangChain to indicate that you've installed it. To verify that you have LangChain installed, what you can do is you open the Python, interactive Python in that same terminal. So you just type Python, you run the Python command, and then you import LangChain, and then you print LangChain dot underscore version underscore. Since it's interactive, when you run that, when you enter, it will display the version of LangChain you have. You actually don't even need the print command in the interactive mode.
So please can you
After running the pip install langchain command, run the Python command, import langchain, and then you do, let me type that. Yes, it should be lang chain, not lang chain. Let me edit the message. Okay. With that, your terminal will display the version of langchain that you just installed. Well, you might wrap this in a print, we typically say print statement, even though technically it's no longer a statement, it's now a function. Okay. Mustafa has verified his langchain installation. Langchain has, I mentioned Langchain's integration with Olama. Langchain also has integrations with OpenAI, Anthropic, and so on. So you can also install those, but we are not going to be using those in this course. We are only using the integration for Olama because we are planning to run local models. Or you can also, we're also going to be using the integration with Grok. So those are the two we are going to be using in this course.
Sir,
Yes, go ahead, please.
when I run the latest command that you dropped, that is langchain dot dash dash version dash dash. The response was that
Is underscore version.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, underscore version. The response was that it's not recognized as an internal or external command.
You are running this directly from CMD, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
From CMD.
You need to first run Python to open the interactive Python terminal. It's in the interactive Python terminal that you run this command. So first you do Python, enter, and then it's there that you now run the command. It's Python code, really. Yes, you could also have it as a script and run it, but that's essentially a waste of time. It's just a quick information that you want to get. Somebody is unmuted and we are getting feedback. Now, I'm going to send us the URL for Olama. We will not be able to do that in this class, but we should go to, okay, let me get the exact URL for downloading Olama.
Make it.
Fatima, Fatima, please mute yourself. Okay, so please could you click on this link? Let's be sure it opens. Then you can bookmark it so that later you download and install the version of Olama for your computer. If it's opening for you, just react to that message where I've posted the link, react to it with a thumbs up. As in react to the message itself so that I'll know how many people it's opening for. Okay, one person. I will also drop the link for Grok, where we'll okay. No, you're not installing anything globally. Every installation is in the virtual environment you created. That's why we created a virtual environment. If you are sure you understand the implications of installing globally and you're fine with having that installation globally, go ahead. But I will advise just install in the virtual environment. Later, if you want to install globally, fine. But for the purposes of this course, let's install within the virtual environment so that what we are doing is restricted to the virtual environment. So all installations, that is for LangChain. For Olama, it's just like any normal software installation. So it has nothing to do with the virtual environment. You download and install the way you would install any other software, like Microsoft Word or Google Chrome, just like that. So it's not about the virtual environment in this case for installing Olama, that is. So the second link I provided is where you get your Grok API key. So you need to register there and then you can generate your Grok key. Keep your key confidential. Don't reveal it to anyone else. You're going to be using that key when we need to access more powerful models than we can run locally with Olama. Now, we will not, we should install Olama first and probably pull some models before we install LangChain Olama. But since we don't have any solution for Grok, I think we should just install the Grok, LangChain Grok integration. So we should still use pip install LangChain Grok.
So my Olama setup is still downloading. Can we go ahead and do that? Olama Grok.
That's what I'm saying. No, don't install Olama. They're not Olama Grok. There's LangChain Olama. But I'm saying that you should typically only install LangChain Olama after you have installed Olama. So what I'm saying we should install now is LangChain Grok. So the command is just let me type the command.
In virtual environment.
Yeah, in the virtual environment. Yeah, that should install the LangChain Grok integration. There's LangChain Open AI integration. There's LangChain Anthropic integration. Sorry?
I'm sorry, sir. You know, the last thing that I did was Python, where we did import Python. So should we go back to the environment or still on the Python shell?
Exit from the Python shell, please.
Okay. Now back to the virtual environment.
Yes. Please be sure that your virtual environment is activated before installing the LangChain Grok.
Yes, it came by default.
Okay. We also have integrations for OpenAI. I think it's LangChain OpenAI. Just for knowledge sake, we won't be using that. And then we also have integration with Anthropic. Actually, I think LangChain has integration with almost all the major LLM providers. But the same Grok still allows us to, both Grok and Olama allow us to use models from those providers. So with Grok and Olama, we're fine, except you want to use a specific model that's not available on Grok and is not available on Olama. But typically, for such a model, you may need to pay.
Sir, OpenAI being the very popular whatever, I don't know, just asking, why are we not using it also, sir?
It is not the only one. Do you have if you want to use OpenAI models directly from the OpenAI API, you would need their API key. I don't know how much the free tier of the OpenAI API offers anyway, but we want to run local models, right?
Okay.
Majorly, we want to work with locally run models, and that's why we're using Olama. So you can still run some OpenAI models on Olama. There are some that are available, like the OSS models that they just released. They are available on Olama. Yeah, almost all providers have versions of some of their models available on Olama. Even on Grok, you still have models from almost all providers in Grok. So unless you have a specific reason that you want to run directly in the OpenAI API, there's really not more, but know that typically you may need to pay. It's not really expensive anyway. for individual tokens, it's not expensive, but then when you start running plenty, you see that they start adding up. Since we are learning, that's why we are trying to use Olama, where they're locally hosted models, so you don't need to pay anything. You're only limited by what your system, the models that your computer can run.
Okay, sir. Please, I saw to set a LangChain. So I saw that you posted LangChain that OpenAI for us. Do you mean we should also install it on us, sir? I just saw it.
I said I was providing that just for knowledge sake.
An
You don't
Anthropic.
need to do that. You don't need to install it. I'm just providing for knowledge sake to know that there are also these
An Anthropic model.
integrations. Yes, LangChain has integrations for almost all
Okay.
major providers. You can just Google to see all the integrations they have. I'm just providing this for knowledge sake. For this course, we're only going to work with LangChain Olama
All right, sir.
and
All right.
LangChain Grok. Those are the integrations we use in this course. Those suffice for us. And finally, optionally, if you would like to use PyCharm, you can also download PyCharm and install, but that will not be within the class because we don't really have that time. Let me try to get the link for doing that so I can provide it to us. But if you prefer a different IDE, that's fine. If you have a preferred IDE, you can use that one. But I know when I will use an IDE, it will be PyCharm myself.
Okay, so that means that we're not using Jupyter Note at all, sir.
No,
Notebook.
Jupyter Notebooks is really for research. You don't use Jupyter Notebooks for production work. It's for research. It doesn't mean that it can be used, but I mean.
So since you're using PyCharm, sir, should we use PyCharm or somebody is talking about VS Code? Which one do you advise, sir?
I'm using PyCharm. If you are more comfortable with VS Code, please go ahead. The tool doesn't matter. The important thing is a tool that allows you to do the work. So it's actually better for you to use a tool you're more familiar with, so that you have less. It's more intuitive to get to what you're actually doing than that you're spending time getting to know the IDE. But if you feel you've not used PyCharm before, you want to use PyCharm, you're still free. That's why you see it in the slide I have install PyCharm as optional.
Optional, Chris.
It's optional. You don't have to.
Well, I don't have either of them. Maybe I should just go with PyCharm.
Yeah, nothing stops you from installing both because, I mean, yeah, a lot of people use VS Code, but me, I typically use PyCharm for Python work.
Okay, absolutely.
Okay, so that's the link for PyCharm in case you want to install it. So that's where we'll stop today's class. And before I ask whether you have any questions or any comments, I just want to reiterate, please try to complete these installations, except PyCharm if you don't want to. That's optional. Try to complete these installations. When you install Olama, well, yeah, putting models, we can do that later, but you can also just do a bit of research on Olama, try to pull some models, try to just play around with Olama so you get comfortable with it. That saves our class time for things that we need to do in class, so that things that we can do outside the class, we do that. Then remember that your first promotional task has been uploaded on the LMS. You need to complete that task before 11:59 p.m. on Sunday, November 2. If you don't complete your promotional task, you won't be able to move to the next stage. So you need to complete your stage 0 promotional task before 11:59 p.m. on Sunday, and you are submitting it on LMS. You've only completed it where you've submitted on LMS, so it's not that you say you've finished but you've not submitted. So you are going to do the task in a Google Doc, and then you should submit the link to that Google Doc in LMS. The task is essentially relates to what we did on Tuesday and relates to your own experience. The idea is, let us get to know some pinpoint you have where AI agents might be useful, and probably we'll see that maybe that's what you'll be using in your practical work as we move on in the course. That way, what you're doing relates to what your experience, and it's something that ends up being or should end up being valuable to you firsthand. That being said, may I ask here whether anybody has any question or comments before we wrap up for today?
Yes, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, let's go one after the other. Ejiabonya first.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. And I want to really ask these applications that we are installing. I just wanted to give a brief explanation or tell us why we are installing them, or what are they going to be used for?
Well, today I've only asked you to install one application compulsorily and one optional. The compulsory one being Olama, the optional one being PyCharm, and I explained why for both of them. The Python we installed is really not an application per se, but I also know that I've also explained that we're going to use Python. That's the programming language we're going to use in the course. We've installed some libraries, LangChain. I explained that that's the framework we're going to be using in building the agents. And then two integrations, LangChain Olama and LangChain Grok. I explained that we can't install LangChain Olama first. We shouldn't until we've installed Olama itself. And I also explained why we are installing these integrations. They allow us to work with models from these providers, being Olama and then Grok in our LangChain framework. So essentially, these are what enable us to build agents, AI agents, as we progress in the course. Does that adequately answer your question?
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, Olanrewaju, you wanted to ask a question?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, sir, for today's class. I'm very excited for your input, sir. I want to ask, sir, I've already downloaded the Olama setup. I've not installed. Should I install now, or maybe it's the next class, or we can wait?
No, we won't do that in class again. You have to complete the rest. That's why I'm saying the remaining ones we've not done. You see the list on the slide. We have not done Olama installation. You have to do that yourself. When you're done with that, you install LangChain Olama. To install LangChain Olama, you run pip install LangChain Olama from CMD, and you have to remember your virtual environment has to be activated before you run that. Then you need to get your Grok API key. I provided a link for that, and if you so wish, you install PyCharm. But you need to do these before the next class because we'll probably be using them. Sorry, go ahead, please.
Because I also install the LangChain Grok after the API keys.
Well, you can install it without the API keys. It's just that for you to use Grok, you need to provide the API keys when you're making a call to the Grok API. So you
Okay,
can
sir.
you can install LangChain Grok before getting the API key or after. It really the other really doesn't matter. But you need to do both. Yes.
Okay, sir. And last question, sir. Does
Right,
the API
please.
key have a maybe kind of a validity or something so that one does not do it in advance before having a need for it?
I don't think it's not a trial version unless they now change tomorrow. It's just that well, I'm looking at it that we're going to be using the free tier. In the free tier, there are some limits. You have a limit to the number of tokens you can access. Yeah, is it per minute? I think you have a limit in the number of calls to the API you can make. I think every minute and so on. You can get that information still on the Grok website.
All right, sir.
It's just
But
that
sir,
if
do you advise that we should go and pay, or
if you
should
don't
we
have
pay for the API?
if you don't have any need for paying, why pay? Unless you really
Okay, so I'm
want to
only
use it and
confirming.
you have
Maybe that's the expectation for. No, I'm only asking. Maybe that's the expectation, sir.
no. I clear that I'm trying to see how we can go through the course without having to spend money on
Yes, sir.
things. So if
Yes,
you
sir.
wish
Yes,
to
sir.
do that, fine. I mean, if you have bigger models to play with, that's fine. But the reason I started with Olama is to allow us to be able to use locally hosted models. That way we don't have to pay. Like I mentioned
Okay.
earlier, you're only limited
Yes.
by the size of model that your computer can run.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome. Okay, do we have any other question? Any other comments? If we don't, then let's call it a night. But please, I would like to request that from next week, please let more people be engaged. We had just a few people engaged today. We had more people engaged in Tuesday's class, but I guess maybe some persons already have gone past what we are doing today. And some persons mentioned that they are not with their computers. That's fine, but either way, try to ensure that you have installed all these things by next class so that we won't have to start going back to installations when we're supposed to be moving ahead. Thank you very much for your audience. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, sir.
Good night, sir. Good night, everybody.
Good night, sir.